This is the John Brown Alliance, where we don't fear, we fight. We're old school and we understand the assignment. And also, we've seen this movie before. I don't know what's wrong with white people where they don't educate their children about where to go, what to do, and how to stay safe. What happened in Washington, D.C. this week was not a tragedy. It was karma. Plain and simple. Big balls. It's another example of white privilege. White people think they can go anywhere and do anything and there's not going to be any consequences. Well, we were taught from the time we were born that just because you have the right to count out $700 in a dark alley doesn't mean you should do so. It's called judgment. It's called personal accountability for your own safety. But that's not the white way. And I don't know how many times I've heard white Americans say they traveled overseas and something happened and they were like, I'm an American. You know, I'm going to call the embassy. And I'm white. And they think that if they pay for a vacation, anything they do is excusable because they're white. Now I'm going to go back to why I am considered an authority on this. Most, if not all, of my aunts, uncles, and other relatives have either worked for the DC government, federal government, law enforcement, or United States military. We know how this story is going to come out. And that's why I am happy today to bring you this announcement. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video if you want to keep hearing updates on what's going on right now with the occupation of Washington, D.C. Now, here's the reflection back to the 1960s, the Reconstruction, and post-slavery. Big balls. His picture is on this post over here on YouTube. Corstein, his name is. Goes into Washington, D.C. I don't know where this guy comes from. But at any rate, he's in Washington, D.C., DuPont Circle, which is not a known crime area, at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he, according to Donald Trump, rescues some woman from being carjacked. Let me be clear. For those of you who are still watching MSNBC and CNN and taking that as your narrative, you need to understand how fascism works. These are not the networks you need to be listening to right now. They're not what you need to watch. And the reason why you don't know what's going on in LA right now as we speak and other places in the United States is because you turn on the boob tube and you tune in and you think that is the truth. If you lived in communist China, Russia, or Germany before they took down the Berlin Wall, you should know better. You should know better. You should seek knowledge from every source, not just depend on one. Don't even depend on me. And when people say that you can't stop fascism with your pockets and boycott things like Walmart and Target and Amazon, those things have worked. Unions were formed at Amazon because people did boycotts. Better living wages were formed at Walmart because people did boycotts. So what we need to do is stop battling against each other. And you know who I'm talking to you. You know who you are. We need to stop that. Because you're out there on the West Coast and I'm here on the East. And certain things that work out there don't work there. You got a smaller demographic. You got a smaller population. So every single thing counts. So Big Balls, we're going to get back to that, was in DuPont Circle. He got busted up. However he did. It happened. And as a reward for him relieving you of veterans benefits, Social Security, Medicaid, food stamps, and all those other things. This Big Balls guy was one of the guys that went in there with Elon Musk and purged the United States government of your personal information. This is that guy. Now, a couple of days ago, by happenstance, he was in DuPont Circle and he got his ass whooped. I call that karma. I don't call that crime in D.C. Because no matter what you might think of me, or no matter what the government might think of me, karma is a motherfucker. It really is. And I believe in that. And I believe you get exactly what you deserve. Absolutely. So, Donald Trump decides he's going to honor Big Balls with the occupation of Washington, D.C. Let's get something straight right off the break. This occupation of Washington, D.C. will consist of, and you can mark my word, the lowest hanging fruits, soft targets. Yesterday, they went into Howard University and harassed a bunch of college students because it's an all-black university. Who would have thunk it? The other thing is, just like during the Black Lives Matter protest, they're going to concentrate all these efforts, and you will see it with your own eyes if you come to Washington, D.C., all these efforts on places where only white people are at. Like the Capitol building, the White House, outside all that, coming down Pennsylvania Avenue. You're not going to see on camera these idiots even attempt to enter places where they claim they're cleaning up the blacks and getting rid of the blacks. If you look back to Donald Trump's both of his political campaigns, every place he claimed to be, like Detroit, Baltimore, other places, we were able to get information out stating that those rallies did not take place in those major cities. It wasn't Chicago. It wasn't Detroit. It wasn't New York. It wasn't Washington, D.C. One of the rallies he held in Washington, D.C. was in the northernmost racist part of the state of Maryland. And all of these other places followed suit. He was never in these big cities. Just like we, since Donald Trump got elected, said what would happen if the January 6th insurrectionists came to the 3 quadrants of Washington, D.C. that are majority black. That takeover of the Capitol would have never happened. Plain and simple. This is, like a lot of people think, the beginning of the end or the beginning of the beginning. But I assure you, today, last reports, there are no National Guard and FBI and all of that bullshit walking through black neighborhoods in D.C. Why? Because they're fucking scared. Because they know what awaits. Most of those people are living day to day. They don't give 2 shits who the president is. And it's all about survival. And you can wear whatever uniform you want up in there. These guys are not going to come out in the streets like Latinos and give themselves up. No, these motherfuckers are hiding behind trash dumpsters, jumping out of trees, and ain't no cameras down there. That's why he's not down there. because he knows that there are people with cameras down there, and there are educated black people down there. So good luck, Chuck, on that. But I'm going to leave you with this. The definition of success is where preparation and opportunity meet. And we have been preparing for the next insurrection since Donald Trump got elected. This is the John Brown Alliance. Have a great Wednesday.